Hey there, welcome back to Nancy's Homestyle Kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how I make John Wayne breakfast casserole. This is a casserole that's put together the day before and you bake it first thing in the morning. It's great for Christmas mornings or potlucks. It's super easy to make. Let me show you how I do it. Here are the ingredients that you're going to need to make the casserole. 1 loaf of sourdough bread, 2 cups of milk, a 4-ounce can of diced green chilies that have been drained, a half a teaspoon each of salt, paprika, ground mustard, garlic powder, a teaspoon each of oregano and dry minced onion, 8 eggs, an 8-ounce block of cheddar cheese that you've grated, and an 8-ounce block of Monterey Jack cheese that you've grated. Those both are about 2 cups each. And then finally, 1 pound of breakfast sausage. I love Jimmy Dean breakfast sausage, so that's what I use, and I prefer the hot sausage in this recipe, but you can use a mild sausage, any breakfast sausage that you like, or if you prefer, you can cut up a pound of bacon and cook that and put bacon in place of the sausage. The first thing we need to do is brown the breakfast sausage, or if you're using bacon, go ahead and cook that up. When this recipe was given to me by a coworker, about 20-something years ago, it called for 7 slices of sourdough bread. However, every loaf of sourdough is different, so I kind of eyeball it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cube this up and put it in the dish to the level that I'm used to doing it, and then I'm going to take it out and measure it so we can have an accurate recipe in the comments so you have an idea of how much sourdough bread you need to put in the casserole dish. So let's get this cut up and we will see. Okay, this is the right amount of bread. So let's measure it and see how many cups of bread it is. So you guys have an idea of how much is needed. And you can see these are just rough chop cubes, not too specific, because this bread is going to absorb all of the egg custard mixture that we're going to make. Okay, you guys, 8 cups of bread. So that is the magic number, 8 cups. And you can see how much of this sourdough loaf that I have left. Let's spray this with some nonstick spray and just brush it all around so it doesn't stick. There's a lot of cheese in here, so if you skip this step or forget, it's really going to stick to your dish. So this is super important. Okay, in goes the 8 cups of bread cubes. I'm going to clean this up real quick and then we'll start with the egg mixture. The next step is to make the custard mixture. I've cracked 8 eggs into this bowl, and I find it easier to whisk the eggs alone before you add the milk. Otherwise, I always feel like there's 1 or 2 egg yolks you're chasing around to try to break up to incorporate into that milk. So you could just do a quick whisk and get those blended to start with. So now we're going to add half a teaspoon each of our spices. Okay. Half a teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of oregano, a teaspoon of minced onion, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of ground mustard, and half a teaspoon of paprika. I will have all of the ingredients listed below in the description. So we'll mix that up and add in the milk. And this is just 2% milk. Just use whatever milk you have. And that's all there is to it for the egg mixture. So what we will do now is start layering our casserole. Now we're going to layer in the final ingredients. You're going to want to sprinkle half of the cheeses over the 8 cups of sourdough bread cubes. And I'm just going to do half of the jack cheese and half of the cheddar cheese. You could also just use 16 ounces of Colby Jack if you want. Now we're going to put in the sausage that I browned up. We're just going to sprinkle that over the cheese. And just move it around so you can get sausage. You want sausage in every bite. When this is done, you're going to cut it up into little cubes like brownies. You want to make sure everybody gets some sausage. Okay, that's good. And we're going to put the diced green chilies on here. I have mild diced green chilies. You can use spicier ones if you like. And this too, like the sausage, you want to like to try to get it as evenly spread around as possible before I do that step. We're going to finish with the rest of the cheese. All right, the final thing is we're going to pour the egg mixture over the top. So give it another quick blend. Looks like we have some spices stuck on the side. We want to get those all in there. So just pour this over evenly. As this sits overnight, the bread is really going to soak up all of this egg mixture. And when you cut into it, you can't even really tell that it's made with bread. It just feels like this really nice eggy custard, kind of bread pudding, I guess, like a savory bread pudding. And we're going to get all of the spices out. Okay. This tray that I bought came with a lid. So I'm just going to stick the lid on this. We're going to put it in the refrigerator. It's going to sit overnight, and then I'll see you tomorrow morning when we get ready to bake it. Good morning and welcome back. I've preheated the oven to 325 degrees and I took the casserole out of the refrigerator. It's been in there overnight. So I'm going to go ahead and bake it for 50 to 60 minutes until it's nice and golden brown and set. All right, it's been 55 minutes and I'm going to show you how I check to see if it's done. So come down here to the stove. You'll see it is nice and golden brown and bubbly. And I'm going to stick just a butter knife down in here. And you'll see I have a little bit of melted cheese and there is some oil on there, and that is from the cheese. I don't see any raw egg on there. So that is done, my friends. I'm going to take it out of the oven and set it up here so it can cool for about 10 minutes before we cut into it. All right, it's cooled off and let's go ahead and cut into it and see how it looks. Just run a knife around the edge just to kind of release any of the cheese that may have been stuck on the side. And you can cut as big or little pieces as you want. I can hear the knife kind of going through the cheese is nice and crispy on top. And my favorite piece is the corner. As with brownies or anything, give me a good crispy corner. I'm gonna reach around here and hold this because it's still hot. And then this is what it looks like. It is nice and steaming hot. This is going to be good. And super, super hot. So let's give this a taste test. I could show you when it just cuts apart so nice and soft. Okay. I want that sausage. Okay. Ready? It's really good. You can taste the sourness from the sourdough, the diced green chilies, the sausage. I mean, just all the components have their moment to shine in this. So I hope you give this a try and that you like it. If you do, let me know in the comments and I'll see you on the next video.